Hi guys, we're going to be talking about Picard Season 2, which is out now on Paramount Plus in the US and Amazon Prime Video in the UK. So the synopsis of Season 2 of Star Trek Picard is sort of along the lines of the now Admiral Jean-Luc Picard finds himself aboard the USS Stargazer, reunited alongside Captain Chris Rios and crew from the first series. So we've got Seven and Nine back, Raffi's back, we've got Agnes is back and Alnor. So basically they're answering a distress message specifically addressed to Picard from the appearance of a concerning spatial anomaly, which is the certain colour anomaly, isn't it? So the crew quickly
True.
find themselves thrust on a brand new journey, the road not taken. And this is all to do with Trickster Q's machinations. Picard faces his final trial, a desperate race against time to save the galaxy's future in a dangerous timeline. But in the past.
In the
But that's not quite
past.
the past, it's our future. It's 2024. So
It's our future, but it's
kind
their
of about,
past.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're going back to the future, but back.
Which is handy because, like, in 2024, it's going to look pretty much like now, isn't
Exactly. I
it?
like what they've done. So, Chris, what were your sort of initial thoughts going in and coming out of watching the first 3 episodes of season 2?
I'm not sure I was super excited, right? Because season one had some issues for me, including it was a bit silly in places. I questioned the vibe for Star Trek. Some of the characters felt a little bit off for me, maybe. And so I was a little bit concerned.
Okay.
However, having seen the first 3 episodes of season two, I'm enjoying it so far. It's got depth to it. It's got a nice message, clearly kind of underpinning it, which we haven't really got to yet, but it's intriguing to find out where that's going. Um, it's got a really cool, epic running start where you jump straight into the action, and then you go from there, and some really great old enemies and stuff showing up. There's lots of opportunity for character growth and everything. So yeah, I'm hoping that it can continue on this trajectory, and I'm optimistic for the
Okay.
rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. What about you?
Yes, I'm really enjoying this. As you said, I think there's a lot more to it than the first series, and it definitely feels a lot more TNG for me because obviously you got the
Yeah.
time travel, you've got Q, you've got the Borg, and I really like how they've like interwoven this into. It's quite a big sort of story, isn't it? So you've got like spatial anomalies, you've got like different timelines, but are they different timelines? It's like a dark timeline sort of thing. They're sort of fascist and it's
Suppose it'll just be the
weird.
future in our
Exactly.
universe, right?
Yeah. And then you've also got the time travel aspect, and it's obviously the Borg Queen's involved as well, and it's all a bit like ooh mysteries and there's like little hints and cryptic clues like dropped in throughout. But at the same time, it's quite a nice little human story as well, because it does dive into like Picard and the reason why he's potentially went off exploring in the first place, and there are hints to his like past and things and potential traumas and yeah, it's a really good mix, I think, and I'm very much enjoying it.
That's cool. I want to say as well, because you mentioned it's very on the vein of the Next Generation.
Hmm.
It also has a lot of Voyager vibes for me as well, because
Okay.
like the Scorpion, where Janeway had to make a deal with the Borg and everything, and then Seven and Nine first appeared and everything. So it felt like they were also harkening back to that a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, I definitely agree with
Mm.
all of that.
I mean, there's like references everywhere in this. Honestly, it's we'll talk about this a bit later, but it does kind of feel like the greatest hits because, as you said, there's a bit of Voyager in there,
Mm.
and again, there's another reference to another episode where it was Picard and Kirk, and they sort of
Mm.
cross over,
Mm.
and like another mirror universe sort of thing. So yeah, it's good for fans, but is it maybe too much?
Cool. Let's talk about some characters then.
Okay.
This season,
Yes.
how are you feeling about Picard and Jerry Ryan? Well,
Ooh.
Picard and Seven, not Patrick Stewart and Jerry Ryan.
Yeah, interesting mix. They are probably two of my favorites, but for me, Agnes has kind of risen to the top there.
Yeah.
But what I like about this season is definitely developing them a lot more and spending more time with them, giving them a bit more depth. And the dynamic has changed a little bit. I feel like they're gelling a lot more, whereas in the first series they just kind of got thrust together, and it's definitely found
They're
its
definitely
feet a
bringing
lot
out their
more.
individual character,
Exactly.
and in a way that they struggled it in the first season, like you said, but also like in Discovery and stuff, they really struggled to have any kind of character in their characters.
What?
Something. Yeah. Yeah, I really agree with Dr. Agnes Jurati. She's great in this. She's got such amazing character and depth, and
She's just so
she
funny
acts it
and
brilliantly as
witty
well.
and sarcastic, and
Yeah.
she's just so
Finding her
good.
feet this season, I would say.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree on Picard and Seven. They're just really well established characters, so it's like, it's not really this show that's making them great because they already were great.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like, I feel like they feel more natural this season as well. Like maybe last season, some things didn't quite gel perfectly for them, but it feels better so far. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
like three
I mean,
episodes.
just quickly going back to Picard, it's interesting to see. Obviously, we've had so much Picard in the past that they're actually finally kind of going back to his past, and they haven't quite done that. But obviously, you had, or was it Family? The episode Families, or I can't remember what it was called now. Where he went back to Chateau Picard and saw his brother and their family. But yeah, in this, I feel like they're definitely exploring something we haven't really seen before, and that's quite. I'm really quite enjoying that. It does feel very sort of somber though, as in
Yeah,
like this is almost like a goodbye. I know we've got series threes already in production, but I think that's potentially the last one. But there's definitely a lot of him looking more inwards and maybe
yeah.
things that he's missed
I
and
think this might be a Patrick Stewart thing. Like he might have said, "I want to go a bit inward and introspective and really explore humanity and
yeah,
stuff like that," because it is showing through so far, and I hope that pays off in a good way.
yeah,
Because I know he has previously said he doesn't like that we're kind of heading into the stars and things. He prefers the idea that we look after our planet first, which is fair, but it's kind of exciting, isn't it, to get out into the stars and stuff? And a lot of people are.
that's like the whole essence of Star Trek, right?
Right, exactly. So I'm hoping that where it's going is conducive to Star Trek and not like trying to undermine it in some way.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see. So far, it seems good. A couple of other characters. So we got Captain Rios. This was like the one. There was one niggle that I had in this.
Yes.
In 3 episodes, which is pretty good for me. Like to find only one niggle. But yeah, I didn't like that he was smoking on the bridge. As the
A
captain.
cigar,
A
right?
cigar,
I'm just
yeah.
gotta put that out there.
Does it make a difference? I mean, it still feels a little bit sort of unbecoming for a Starfleet
Starfleet.
captain, you know, even bridge crew or anything. It's a bit strange to me, but yeah. Anyway, that was like the one thing. I guess it's to indicate that he's something of a rebel, you know. But I just feel like they could have done that in a better way, or just kept him not being Starfleet or whatever.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm also not really on board with the whole hologram still as well. I know holograms obviously has happened before in Star Trek and
Yes.
but I don't know. He's not quite like
Yeah, he's not really his own. He doesn't really had his own character kind of built
no.
up, and it is a bit strange that you would program a hologram to
Be like a therapist.
be a bit weird, like he is.
Yeah.
He's a bit sort of yeah. I don't know. It's strange, but yeah. And then we got Raffi and Elnor as well. I think I need to see more of them this season to kind
Yeah.
of come to a conclusion on them because I feel like they're better, but I don't think they've really had a chance to kind of develop their characters.
I do like I know you're not a huge fan, but I quite like the dynamic between Seven and Raffi.
Yeah.
I think that's quite a nice sort of connection.
Yeah,
They
it's
are a
nice.
bit sort of at loggerheads sometimes, but I quite like the bickering between them.
Yeah, I think it's better this season.
Yeah.
From what I remember.
Okay.
Okay, let's move on to story. So it starts off. It's like an epic running start. Like
Yes.
things just hit the wall
Bridge
straight
crew
away.
and
Yeah. Explosions and spatial
pew-pews.
anomalies.
Yes.
Brand new ships for old enemies.
Stargazer.
Stargazer is
Ooh.
pretty cool looking. And then obviously you've already mentioned we got the Borg and Q, and they show up in the first episode.
Yeah.
very cool.
It doesn't hang around at all, does it? I
No.
mean, the pacing is just like bam, bam, bam.
And while it kind of sounds like it's leaning on nostalgia, because obviously you got Borg and Q and everything, it feels new enough. They've done enough to make it new and keep it interesting.
And warrant them
Yeah.
for the first place. Yeah.
Exactly, which I feel like is something that we haven't seen a lot of recently. Like generally people making new movies and stuff, they tend to really heavily lean on nostalgia and don't really do anything new. So
What did you think of the Dark Starfleet timeline?
yeah, it's interesting. I like that it's our timeline and not the mirror universe, because
Yes, you're not a fan of the Mirror Universe. We should probably put that out there
I
first,
don't
right?
care for it, because it's like
I do not care for it.
you go there and then there's no real need to
No-
fix it, because it's
yeah,
the
no
mirror
repercussions.
universe. There's
Yeah.
no mirror. Yeah, exactly. There's no repercussions.
Oh, but did you not find it in Discovery? I loved the Mirror episode. Mirror Universe
Can't remember.
episode.
That's where Georgiou came from.
Yes. Yeah, she was
I
so
didn't
good.
love her character, but
Oh,
actually,
Christopher.
looking back now, at least she had some character.
Oh, burn.
You know?
We'll be talking about Star Trek Discovery probably in another sort of video.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I just think there tend to be one-off things where you go there and then the kind of goal is to escape.
Yeah.
Rather than actually doing any kind of. We would never go to the mirror universe, and try and fix it. Like it doesn't make
Okay,
sense,
like
does
holodeck
it?
episodes.
Yeah.
I quite like holodeck
I quite like
episodes.
them. Yeah, you're right. It's just there's nothing really.
Of value and
Yeah,
substance. Yeah, okay.
you don't really make any progress with
Mhm.
them, right? They tend to be one-offs.
They're sort of filler
But,
episodes. in a way.
yeah, so I like that this doesn't do that, because then it implies that there's actual meaning and purpose to this. Like there's something's going to happen and it's going to have lasting repercussions.
Maybe.
Yeah. So sorry.
I was just going to say what I found interesting. We spoke about this yesterday, but the showrunners, so the team that they got, the team of showrunners and writers, one of them is actually Terry Matalas. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but he's obviously previously worked on Voyager and Enterprise as well as 12 Monkeys series, which is maybe where the whole time travel thing came in, because it definitely lends itself to that, I believe.
Maybe that's interesting. Yeah, I'd like to know which episodes you worked on specifically. Yeah, so other story bits. So we got some we've been teased with some intrigue about Picard and his character and his backstory, which we already mentioned briefly, and some hints at those themes and messages that might be coming up. And then they feel like they're quite pertinent to current events, and like maybe more broadly the human experience in general.
Well, that's very deep, Chris. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we've seen 3 episodes, so we don't really know too much about the story yet. But, I would say like it got off to such a great start. It feels like they blew a lot of the budget straight off the bat.
Yes, yeah.
You know, now
I think
they've
it just
gone
took you in, and then you're
back
kind
in time
of.
to where we are. It kind of feels like the budget's gonna be
But they
fairly
don't need
low
to
budget
spend
for
as much.
the majority of the show probably. But yeah, that's fine. I mean, as long as it's good, that's pretty much it.
Okay. What about the cinematography and score and the sort of look and feel of it then?
Yeah, look and feel is great. Looks fantastic, doesn't it? Really, the old enemy is now made new.
Oh
It looks
yes.
fantastic.
I don't know how much we can talk about that, but
Can we talk about the moment with Q?
I don't see why not.
So there's just a scene where he's like de-aged.
Yes. Oh my gosh, that technology.
So good, isn't
So
it?
good.
It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Maybe because it was very sparingly used rather than Boba
exactly.
Fett, shall we say? Well, that was good, but I think
you're right. Yeah, the less you use it, the better.
yeah, the
And
more
they did it in a
effective
really
it
clever
is.
way where it felt natural as well. It didn't just feel like they were trying to hide it. Yeah. I really love the spatial anomaly at the start. When you hear like people say things like a tear in space time and stuff like that, this felt really visceral it felt like it was describing.
They visualized it so well,
exactly.
I thought, and then obviously the color is just so kind of linked to the Borg, isn't it? I mean, when you see that, you're like, oh, here we go, sort of thing.
It felt like someone was like ripping Dom
Yes.
apart or something, didn't it? Maybe that's what they did. They kind of recorded that or something, but yeah, I think that was fantastic.
What about the ships then? We got the ships, we got some new uniforms, we got some new badges.
All looks really great. Looks top tier stuff, doesn't it? So
Definitely, the
excited for that.
Starfleet looks great. And not Starfleet, the Stargazer looks great.
Indeed.
It's it's an interesting one that has popped up again, isn't it? Because didn't Picard?
He worked out. He was the bridge crew on that ship before he went to the Enterprise, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. It all looks great. I'm excited. Excited for more. I mean, Discovery also looks great for the most part. That's a different story. Soundtrack? Was there a soundtrack? Score?
There was a soundtrack. There is.
I'm sorry, I'm a very visual person.
Yeah, you are.
And they don't tend to stick in my brain, but I'm sure I loved it at the time.
Okay. Yeah, it's composer Jeff Russo. Yeah, it was really, really good. I thought it was very exhilarating, very suspenseful. When, as you mentioned, the cold opening with the big action sort of sequence, that was very well scored. I thought he brings it to life very well, and then he also balances that with the sort of more introspective moments and more strings and more gentle, and yeah, it's very well done.
Cool.
Yes.
So,
and there's also, can I just mention the bridge sounds, and you know when they transport and stuff.
All the little details.
It is
the communicator badges.
Exactly, it just brings it together very nicely. Yes.
So, Nicola, how would you rate, and what would your verdict be?
Well, on my review on the website, I said featuring a much more engaging central mystery, wink wink, which connects deeper to the next generation. Picard season 2 is, so far, a fascinating journey through time and space. But yeah, very strong start. I'm totally here for it. Love all the sort of mystery and the human aspects, and very introspective, but also on a large scale. So yeah, I'm really, really enjoying it. Maybe relying on too much too much Easter eggs and references and things potentially. Has Picard found its way to something completely new, or is it relying too much on TNG and characters? It's the main question, but we've only seen 3 episodes, so jury's still out, I think. But yeah, very much enjoying this. I gave it 4 stars.
Very good.
What about you?
I would say so far they've found a good balance between nostalgia and kind of keeping it fresh and new and finding its own feet. So yes, so far I love it this season. Barely any issues with it. Just that one issue.
Just a little cigar niggle.
Little cigar niggle. Yeah.
But sorry, Christian, it's the future, right? Starfleet. They wouldn't have cigars anyway, would they? Because obviously they're all advanced, and they'll be like, well, cigarettes and nicotine.
That would be done by then, but
never mind.
I mean, they could replicate anything, so
True. Yes.
I don't even know if he was actually was it lit?
I
didn't see any smoke. Was he just trying to look cool? Probably.
Yeah.
So it's super exciting. Has a lot of depth and intrigue too. Yeah, it's got it all, in my opinion. I would say that it could be breaking my malaise over the recent attempts at Trek. So hopefully it will be good.
It's on the right trajectory.
Yeah, but I reserve the right to change my mind on that, of course. But yeah, 2 thumbs up for now. Yeah, I love it. Can't wait for more.
Cool. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching, and see you next time.
Bye.